So you did get a chance to look at the kind of timeline of everything?
I did. So I have a sort of a brief, my version of what it looks like. So,
Sure.
and like you just said, the first couple weeks you'll be here to observe and
Mm-hmm.
probably be a little helpful if need be.
Absolutely,
But just to get an idea. And then, if it's my understanding, is there going to be maybe like an observation a week for a little while after that, as you slowly, and you can make it what.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't have to, it's just kind of a suggestion.
Yeah.
I think the first 2 weeks is kind of getting used to your classroom routines. You're picking up your style, so like I don't just drop in and do my own way with the kids, and they're just going to be confused and like, why am I? I'm not used to this or whatever.
Kind of keeping the same schedule, because we try to keep similar set schedule day to day. Working around the specials too, so you need to become familiar with those breaks. That will be a good time for us to sit down and look at things.
Yep. And then I think part of that too would maybe I would do like 30 to 40 minute lesson, just so I have something to submit for. We have activities every week, so
absolutely.
I mean, maybe toward the end of the week that would be.
One of the things I guess I was wondering, so you're coming the first week of January,
January
as soon as we come back,
yes,
right? So that would be the first couple weeks. We are starting our informational writing project because we have academic fair.
Okay, yeah.
So that's going to take up a big chunk of our time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if there's a way that you can incorporate some of your instruction in that, we use Lucy Calkins, and I can show you. I'll be diving right into that right when we come back. So those first 2 weeks that you're kind of observing, I can share with you what we might be up to by the time you would. It's an independent project, so all the kids are going to be on a different topic.
They do that during the class time a lot too?
I do give class time and home time. It's an at-home project as well. And so they have laptops, so they all can be using their laptops individually in the classrooms. That's another tool for you to keep in mind that they have at
So I do have a little experience, but this will be new having, how many kids do you have?
There are 16.
Oh,
so it's
not
huge
class. That's nice.
16. 16 makes nice for 4 groups of 4, partners of 2, divided in half to keep even numbers. So
awesome.
Trying to make the instruction differentiate, that helps a little bit.
That's something I need to practice with. Definitely.
Yes, you're going to get practice this year. Trust me.
That's good.
These guys, we differentiate for sure.
Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you
okay.
have any specific expectations for me, being part of St. Thomas or as a teacher?
When Mrs. Jakes approached me and had said this was a possibility for us to do, it brought me back to when I went through my student teaching, and I thought of what did my mentor teacher expect of me. So she really gave me a freedom. So I guess my expectation for you would be, when you're here, you don't have to do everything exactly the same way that I would do, because you've got to also explore who you're going to be.
Right.
I modeled a lot after my mentor teacher, but then once in a while I was a little more structured than where she was a little more easygoing with a certain kind of, took a risk, and then vice versa. So I think that I'd like to see you not be a photocopier and an extra just helper, but actually be a teacher in here. So when you're in here and you, see something you feel like you can add, please just be like a co-teacher, jump right in. And if you have an experience along something we're talking about, even in those first couple weeks, and then in the second, and third, and fourth, when you're doing all of the extra lessons on your own, just take the reins and feel free to not worry about messing anything up.
Sure. Yep.
So, and then I guess also just let me know if I'm not doing what I could be doing to help.
Yep.
Because this program seems a little bit different for me, because it seems away and online, and where I won't be talking with like a professor or anything like that. So one of the other things, another expectation I was just thinking of, is we use the the Diocese of Hartford curriculum. I don't know if Mrs. Jakes, you can go to their webpage and get Diocese of Hartford curriculum and standards. Let me get it. Grab it for you. So one of the things that we do is when we do our lessons, we align them to those standards.
Okay.
And of course, because I'm looking for them, oh, they're still out on Friday when I was trying to. So they're based on this. So of course the Common Core
is it based on
that? Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got the Common Core, we've got this, but what we do is, so if you did a lesson, and this is our first year with it, so we're aligning just English language arts. That's why I've got it documented. But
Okay.
you know, if you wanted to do a lesson in science, you would go to the science section and you could see which standards it meets.
Okay.
I can't remember, in the handbook that you had given me, I think it has something for standards. I'm not sure, student learning and standards probably, that would be where that falls. So
Yep.
we can take a look at that. I'm getting used to it too, because of course, back when I started teaching, it was the main learning results, and we aligned everything we did to what standards we were meeting in the main learning results.
When did they start this one?
We as a school just adopted this. I think actually as a whole diocese, I think we are adopting,
Okay.
and I really like it.
Yeah,
I like how
okay,
they
good.
give the standards, and then they give lots of the examples of things that meet those standards.
Okay.
But we still do grades. We don't just say you meet or exceed a standard
Okay.
or rubrics. So I still do, 4 3 2s and 1s, 4s, 100s, 3s, 2s, 1s, or 70s, and grades fall in between on a rubric per se if we're looking at like a narrative writing rubric.
Right.
But then otherwise it's, if they have a test in religion with 20 questions, they get one wrong, it's a 95. So we still do some of that
Okay.
very traditional grading as well. We can try both kinds,
Sure.
formative and summative assessments, and
Yep.
we can look at all of that stuff. Fascinating.
All right.
Was I clear, I think? I don't know, do you feel like you
All right. What about morning routine? Do you have like every day you do the same?
So we
exact thing?
do. So every morning we all meet outside, the students line up, and we pledge as a whole school, and we pray as a whole school outside.
Cool. Okay.
And then we come in, and so one of the things that you'll want, you said 21st century, I guess, is that what the lingo is?
Yeah.
What's the 21st century? So we have active boards. I don't know if Mrs. Jakes had explained.
She did.
So
Yeah. She said someone donated the first couple.
The first couple, and
yeah.
then somehow they figured out how to get them, but they are awesome. So, and actually, maybe with you in here, you can fiddle with it too, and the kids, some years are better than others with the kids knowing, but I mean, you can draw geometric shapes, and you can put lined paper up there, you can put document cameras, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, which
Yeah.
this is more like the, what was that called? The document camera is like the overhead projector,
Oh, okay.
but it's got a lot more stuff that you can do with it. So, and so our attendance is all online now, so they come in and they sign in, and then
Cool.
it shoots down to the office. And in the morning, I always have the schedule up there. So today we had attendance. They have to, and I have a card because there are some big needs in here. There are 2 kiddos who have some pretty distracting behaviors.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've had to learn all over again, because normally with pre-adolescents and the older kids, they're more independent. Usually you tell them and they do it. You're not, having to do 3-step directions.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
I've really had to step back, and I have a card in the morning that it's unpack, sign in, unpacking planners. They have a planner where they're expected to write down all their homework, unpack, sign in, sit down, 3 steps.
For everyone, or do these 2 kids?
That's the expectation for everyone, but I actually have it on a card for these 2 in particular.
Okay.
And there's a couple others who can have the nonverbal, and the reason for that is they can hear it as much as they want from me, but they need the visual.
Right.
It helps them to get keyed in a little bit.
Cool.
So,
Yep.
And then once we're through that's the first 15 minutes, so like 8:30 to 8:45. We also have two sisters downstairs, Sister Karen and Sister Elizabeth. They do enrichment. We have 2 students that leave for that, and that's why we have math to start the day every day,
Okay.
because they're down there having the enrichment math. One is accelerated
I see.
and one is getting extra help,
Okay.
while I'm here with the rest of them for math, and that's till about 9:40. So
Okay.
we have a pretty standard every day. That's how the day starts out, math, and then
Okay.
from there it kind of changes depending on if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
Monday we have no specials, so I have the freedom of, and you'll have the freedom too if you'd rather do a lesson first thing in the morning so that you have time afterwards to do we can change up the schedule
Sure.
after math. Once they have a recess in the morning and a recess after lunch, and the academic fair.
Yep.
And it's still very similar to how it's always been. You know,
Good.
you make your your project board, the trifold board, though we're looking at trying to incorporate 21st century technology. I'm going to use that lingo now. I'd like to see them using a PowerPoint presentation for their fair project.
That'd be awesome.
But it's just the logistics of getting, they're wireless. I mean, you know, we can use them anywhere, but the logistics of getting the kids to be able to be smooth with it, you know, that's
so I can definitely help with that.
yeah, maybe that could be one of your lessons.
Yeah.
You know, how they could, because that would
technology type thing.
Yeah, how they can put a PowerPoint, and they know how to do PowerPoint. That's not an issue, but it would be taking their paper and putting their presentation into a PowerPoint,
right,
as opposed to.
I can see that, you know, definitely helping them a lot, because I'm doing that just for homework assignments every week. We do Prezi too. It's like another kind of PowerPoint program.
It's called Prezi.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like one big storyboard, but it like zooms in on one part instead of different slides. It just zooms in on one and then zooms in on. It's pretty cool. So I'd like to introduce that kind of stuff.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
puts them above. That puts them like on it. Gives them an advantage knowing those different.
What's it? PREZI,
and it's just Prezi.com is the website. Yeah.
That I see something in your future already. That would work very well. Good.
All right, so let's see. So should we talk about, I don't know, some of the subjects, like what kind of units we'll be doing, like in math, what kind of, you know, what unit are you doing now and what will they be doing next year?
So right now we are looking at decimals and fractions, and we're comparing that. So the next unit, and I'm going to grab the book because I think we're going into, and I've been moving at a little bit slower pace than some years, so I'm going to just look here. We'll be starting chapter 4 when we come back, because they have a chapter 3 test next week, actually. Of course, 3 units per. Didn't I just say I'm going to pull this one out because we're going to be on that one? And I think it's still fractions. So we'll be looking in math. Oh, I hope I'm right.
That's it. We can. We'll have the first 2 weeks where you're just going to be starting this.
Well, so that's yet another. Yeah, it is fractions. That's another thing too. Is, you know, you make a plan, and you have to either kind of pull back on it or move ahead on it. Because if the kids all, you know, you're doing a lesson and you see they've all got it, then let's just get past this and move to the next one, right?
That's new to me, because the school I was at, they gave us like a set like lesson plan. I had to stick to it, like to the T. Like I couldn't go faster, couldn't go slower. So it's something I got to get used to. Right,
and I'm still not that great at it after all these years, because it's hard, you know, and you don't want kids to get bored, you know. So the nice thing about the math, so if you end up starting the mornings and being here, chances are then you'll want to do something with math, because if that's what we start our day with every day.
That's perfect, yeah.
If it doesn't end up working for you, just let me know and we can try to work something out. So, you know, it just might mean that a couple of the kids aren't here during one of your lessons, but that's okay. So like adding and subtracting fractions is what we will definitely be doing. So, but that's going to be the first week of more of you observing. So I get to about 4 a week. So we'll probably
4 lessons per week
about 4, because we give homework Mondays through Thursdays, not on Fridays for the weekend, unless it's a project.
Is that for all
subjects?
1 lesson a day. Or is that just math?
That's just math.
Okay.
Science and social studies, we're a little bit more of a snail's crawl on that one, but so yeah, mixed numbers. So it looks like you would probably be at roughly, I'm guessing, the end of this chapter.
Okay.
So if you're here, you'll be taking the class right along with me while as I'm doing it with the kids. So
good. I need a little refresher.
And actually, this is a shorter. Okay, so chapter 4 is a shorter chapter. So you might come in right at the end of this chapter, first chapter test.
Okay.
You'd be able to see that. We'll do a review. So I would plan for you more on if you're wanting to do some things with math. It would be the multiplying.
So chapter 5.
So chapter 5, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's probably a good place that will fall right where you'd be looking. And they have a spiral review. So they do a review, and that's kind of just the busy work that they know they're supposed to be doing. It's a smaller workbook
Oh, okay.
that you'll see when you're here for that.
Sure.
Um,
So that's perfect then. So the first couple weeks, chapter 4, I'll just kind of observe, and then
Yeah.
chapter 5 we'll pick up. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for math. Then
I think the last thing I was just going to ask is anything I need to prepare before I come, student teach. Like the first couple weeks is more of me shadowing you, but if there's anything, I don't know, you can suggest me to prepare.
No.
If you think of it before, then you can email me.
if you have wireless, if you have a laptop and you feel comfortable, we have wireless connections, so you can
Okay.
take notes and do things
Sure.
that way. That would be, just one of those technical things. But no, I think have a good breakfast.
Okay.
I don't know if you drink coffee, but that always.
I might start.
Yeah. And then when you get ready to start doing some of the lessons, we can think about what, sometimes we need to get things together depending on what it is.
Yeah, hopefully you can just help me lesson
Yeah,
plan
yeah.
if that comes up. All right.
That won't be a problem.